Hey guys, and welcome back to Gabbin with Jessa. So in yesterday's video, I was able to give a spoiler-free review on Sonic the Hedgehog, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving a spoiler-filled review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I recommend you go watch that first and then come back here. You can also go watch my other video. I'll link it up in the cards and down in the description below, so that way you can see my spoiler-free review as well. But there's a lot to talk about, and so let's just get into it. So Sonic the Hedgehog is a fantasy adventure film based on the video game character created by Sega, and it is starring Jim Carrey, James Marsden, and Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic. This is also directed by Jeff Fowler, and it is his directorial debut. So we start off, we learn that Sonic is an extraterrestrial blue hedgehog that can run really fast, and there's people all over the world, even in his world, that want to use his powers for bad. So when he's a little baby, he is being looked over by like this mama owl. Her name is Longclaw, and when Sonic is running around after she says that he can't really expose himself, a bunch of poachers come after him, and as they're escaping, Longclaw gives him these rings, a bag of rings, like the ones that you collect in the video game, and they act as like transporters, like portals. So you think of a place and then you throw it and then you can just enter that world. She gives him these bag of rings and she's like, okay, you have to escape, you have to leave here and keep traveling, keep moving, make sure nobody knows about you, keep yourself secret. So we transport 10 years into the future. Sonic is now on Earth and he is watching over this family, pretending like he's part of the family, pretending like he has friends because he's been lonely his entire life. That family is of Tom Wachowski and his wife Maddie. Tom is a police officer of a very small town in Montana, and there's not a lot to do there, and he is given this opportunity to become a police officer in the streets of San Francisco because he wants to help out like the little guys. He wants to be able to save someone, stop crime, and do it in a big town, whereas in this small town, yes, everyone knows him, he's very well liked, but he just isn't getting that adrenaline that he needs. So one night Sonic is playing baseball by himself and he gets very upset, so he starts running the bases like crazy, and that sets off an electromagnetic field pulse thing that completely knocks out all the power. And of course, when the power in the entire Pacific Northwest goes out, then, you know, the government's going to want to be involved because the government's going to be involved in everything. And then they're like, oh, we have to figure this out. And they're like, oh, it's definitely an alien. This is definitely a terrorist attack. And it's like, whatever. So the government is trying to figure out what the heck happened, so they hire Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik to figure it out. So Dr. Robotnik and the government and his little drone things are out searching for Sonic, and he actually ends up finding Sonic. So Sonic goes to hide in Tom's shed, so that way he can use his rings and escape to a mushroom planet, because that's like the last one left on his list. So as he's trying to do that, Tom walks in, thinks that it's another raccoon, and has a tranquilizer gun and goes shoots Sonic because he doesn't know what the heck he is. As this is happening, Sonic has his ring out and he notices that Tom is wearing a San Francisco shirt, and so he thinks San Francisco. He throws the ring, portal opens up to San Francisco. Sonic gets knocked out by the tranquilizer gun, but his bag of rings fall through and end up on top of a roof in a building in San Francisco. So Tom feels bad that he kind of knocked out this alien that he was trying to escape and get away from Earth, so he agrees to help Sonic, and so they drive off to San Francisco so they can retrieve the bag of rings. So during this, Robotnik is trying to track them down, and he actually ends up finding one of Sonic's quills, which helps track them down throughout this whole big chase car scene. The whole movie is basically just them trying to get from Montana to San Francisco so we can get the bag of rings, and Dr. Robotnik uses this quill to discover it. Now, one thing I really liked about the animation of it is that these quills, Tom finds one at one point, Dr. Robotnik has his, and they're so beautiful. Like, they glow up this light blue color. It looks really pretty, and I really like that. It was so beautiful, and I liked how they used that technology, the power that he was able to have to help power other things. That's how Dr. Robotnik powers his machines, is that he's learning to take in that power from the quill that Sonic has and distribute it out, and I really like that. At one point, Sonic and Tom go to a bar, and then a bar fight breaks out, and this is where one of the slow-mo scenes takes place, which was so cool because Sonic's like pushing Tom out of the way. He's wrapping people up in things so that way when, you know, the speed kicks back in, they all trip, or, you know, he's making some guy punch another guy or fly out of a window. And I thought this was really cool. Like I said in my other video, I really liked these slow-mo scenes and how it can, you know, just show how fast Sonic really is going, because sometimes when he's just running around, it gets a little boring, it gets a little confusing, but just him going back and forth like that with everyone else slowing down, because people are still kind of moving, but just barely so. So I really like that scene. It was a fun scene. It didn't necessarily need to be in it. It didn't really add anything to it. If anything, it just kind of, you know, helped with the bond between Tom and Sonic, because, you know, Tom's still just kind of like, whatever, I'll drop you off and then you'll leave. But now, of course, this, you know, helps form their friendship, you know, as any scene like this one. So as we're driving to San Francisco, Robotnik has finally caught up with Tom and Sonic, and he uses these little drones to try to take out Tom's truck. What I really liked here too was that Sonic's little superpower energy ball, that, again, just like the quill, I think the animation of it was just so pretty and so beautiful, and I loved it. So he's, you know, rolling a ball and knocking over the trucks. We see this in the trailers, and I just thought that was so well animated. It was so visually fun to watch. But during this process, Sonic does get hurt, so we drive to San Francisco. Tom's wife Maddie is actually visiting her sister and her niece, her sister's daughter, in San Francisco because she's looking for apartments. And so Tom comes in and says, "Maddie, you gotta help me, even though I'm a fugitive because the government's after me, because they said I stole this creature thing and Robotnik made me like a domestic terrorist or something." Maddie is a vet, so she's trying to like figure it out. Sister completely disapproves of this, obviously. That's like the running joke, is that the sister wants her to leave the husband because she doesn't think she's good enough. I think they're a pretty good pair. I really liked this Maddie actress too. She was really fun to watch. Now this is where one of the cutest scenes that I totally saw coming from a mile away, but it still made me tear up, was that the little niece of Maddie and Tom saw that Sonic had really worn down shoes. They were taped up, so they were just in bad condition. So she gives him an old pair of hers, which, like I said, I knew was coming. You could see that it's coming, but it still made me tear up. And that's why I love this movie, because it was just so heartwarming and it just made me smile. So Tom, Maddie, and Sonic travel to the roof of the Trans-America Pyramid. That's where the rings were dropped off at, so they can get the rings back. But of course, the Robotnik finds them. And this is where another slow-mo scene happens. It wasn't as long or as good as the bar scene one, but this one was still really fun to watch too, because it was when Dr. Robotnik and his drones like shot off like a lot of bullets at him. So Sonic's kind of like using them to get out of the way. He's like sticking them into the drones and their drones are exploding. But what's really cool here is that Robotnik figured out how to use Sonic's power from the quill, so you can see that his ship keeps getting faster and faster, whereas everything else is still moving at that very slow pace, including Tom and Maddie. Sonic actually pushes them off the roof so he can throw a ring and transport them back to Montana, which is what happens. And so when things like speed back up again, they head on back to Montana, whereas Sonic and Robotnik, they travel all throughout the world. Like they're on the Great Wall of China, they go to the pyramids, and this is where I really liked it, because here we were able to see, it kind of looked like some of the courses that you go through in some of the Sonic adventures and the various video games that have come out. And so I really like that. It's what I noticed about it. Again, I'm not a really big Sonic person. I love the games. I grew up with it practically because I had a Genesis, and so it just reminded me of that. This is also the first time when Sonic calls Robotnik Eggman, which is what I always called him growing up, because he calls little drones his eggs, and so that was another fun Easter egg that they added in there. And so for the remainder of the movie, Sonic calls him Eggman. So the chase brings them back to Montana, and here is where Sonic and Tom, they team up, they use the rings to like overpower Robotnik and things, but Sonic does end up getting really hurt again, and this is the last time we see his electromagnetic superpower going on, and that is so cool, because again, I think that this animation is so beautiful. I don't know if this is how it originally was in the original animation, but this made me so happy because I thought this was so well done. So what they do is they, you know, throw the ring, they force him into the mushroom planet, and so Dr. Robotnik is away now, woohoo! Sonic moves up into the attic because he was previously living in a cave, so now he's in the attic with Tom and Maddie. And one thing is that Dr. Robotnik still has Sonic's quill in his little power chamber thing. So even though he's been stuck on this mushroom planet with nobody else to interact with, he's still, you know, figuring it out. He says he's going to be back by Christmas, but we'll see. And then also in this movie, you know, we get our mid-credit scene and we have the introduction of Tails. And he also looks really good too. I'm really curious to see what he looked like originally after this whole Sonic backlash. So I'm wondering if he looked a little funky or not. I guess we'll never know, but he detects Sonic and he's like, oh, he's here in Montana. And then he goes flying off to go find him. So it definitely opens up the possibility of a sequel, you know, if they make enough money. Like I said before, they made a lot of money in this opening weekend. So it would not surprise me if they had a part 2. I really hope they had a part 2 because this movie was so beautiful. That's basically the entire movie right there. It's really not that hard of a concept, but it was still just so much fun, and I don't know, I loved every part about it. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The animation after the change looks so good. The cast is amazing, and I need them to make a second one because I think that this could be a really good series of movies. I guess we're opening up, you know, into the Sonic cinematic universe or whatever. But that is my plot-filled, spoiler-filled review on Sonic the Hedgehog. Really, my opinion hasn't changed that much, but if you are curious to see, you know, the whole plot of the movie, this was it. If you guys like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's have some nice discussions about the movie, what you liked, what you didn't like. And like I said before, you know, I didn't really not like anything about this movie. I thought it was really good. It was juvenile, I will say, you know, with fart jokes and flossing going on all the time, but I still had a really good time. But let me know what you guys think and more down in the comments. And until next time, keep on gabbing.